do you look at decision making when the situation's unique and you've got no past history of similar situations to refer to? So those were the points of agreement, but where they disagreed and where they went the different ways is that they came to the problem from a different background, which we'll discuss in a moment. But effectively, what happened was that I think, in essence, Knight focused on the outcome of the situation. His interest was in the possibility that you would have competing judgments about what was going to happen, and the most successful judgment would win out. And applying that to the business context, that would generate the profit. So for Knight was forward looking with that respect, whereas Keynes was looking more backwards towards the early in the process to the decision. And effectively for Keynes, the decision was a correct decision if it used the evidence, the information that was available correctly. So he had a more, if you like, what I would call an ex ante, looking at it beforehand approach, whereas Knight was looking at ex post, how successful was that decision. So they developed very different views on how to understand uncertainty. Whereas, as I said, I think in essence, Knight focused on the outcome, whereas Keynes was focusing on the decision process that led to the decisions and then the outcome. Ultimately, they had very different motivations for the reconsideration of probability theory, and that led them along very different roads and very different understandings of uncertainty, because they effectively had a different agenda. Now, with regard to Knight's agenda was very much economics, and his motivation was a belief that the economic theory of profit was too limited. In fact, what he considered, what traditionally was considered as the source of profit, Knight rejected that. Knight saw that traditionally economics had assumed that profit was the return for bearing risk. But from Knight's point of view, what was considered risk, most of that he thought should be considered as a cost, because if what he called a risk was insurable, and effectively that should be a deduction from profit, not a source of profit, because you can insure risk. You can insure the possibility of say loss of buildings because of fire. All of those risks that arise from that are known and have you can actually estimate the likelihood that will occur, that they're insurable, and insurance companies will offer a premium because they will insure a whole collective who are facing the same risk, and effectively the insurers make a profit out of sharing risk across the parties who are likely to be affected. So from Knight's point of view, that wasn't a valid theory of profit.